Hello, my name is Dean Thornton with Registered Real Estate Advisors. I'm here with Terry Traylor with Network Funding and Mortgage Banker. Terry, I have a few questions for you today. Some of my clients I know that are confused about, and I'd like to help you clarify them. The first off would be, what important components need evaluating when a borrower obtains a mortgage loan?
All right, there's four components that are most important in obtaining a mortgage loan. The first one is income. We want to make sure that we have an accurate understanding of what their gross monthly income is. The second is assets, and we're talking about usable assets. Assets that are going to be needed to close the loan. We want to make sure that they have necessary funds available to close the loan. The third one is credit and credit scores. We want to make sure that they have acceptable credit scores in order to do a mortgage loan for the client. And then the last thing is debt to income ratios. We want to make sure that they meet within the guidelines, that they have the right debt to income ratios to also get the loan into closing.
Okay, thank you. I have a lot of clients are confused in that. What can you tell me about job history? What do they need in that area?
Well, what we generally like to see is a 2-year history of employment. It can be W-2, a W-2 job working for a company, or it can be self-employment. Again, we need a 2-year history in the same line of work to meet the employment requirements.
Well, as far as, can you elaborate a little bit further on the self-employed? I know that's a little different process than a normal W-2 employee. Can you elaborate a little bit on that, please?
Absolutely. Self-employed income, as I said, we need a 2-year history. And with that 2-year history, we need to have tax returns to review the income, because self-employed borrowers, they have a lot of write-offs. They take a full advantage of the system that's set before us with the IRS. We get to write off things when we're self-employed, and therefore we have to look and see what their adjusted gross income is on line 37 of their tax return. So what they might tell you verbally is completely different than what the real story is after you look at their adjusted gross income on their tax returns, which is line 37, and then we average the last 2 most recent years to come up with an income.
Okay, I hope that clarifies things for everyone. Next question, can you tell us about assets?
Assets can come in many forms. Checking and savings accounts. It could come in a 401k. It could come in the form of gift funds. Any borrower is allowed to receive a gift from a blood relative, or a term called an interested third party, such as a man or a woman that are engaged but not yet married. They're an interested party. The fiance can gift the money to the other party.
I know one other thing that a lot of consumers are confused on is credit scores. Can you tell us a little bit about what the different credit scores and what they mean in the reporting agencies that actually promote those credit scores?
Absolutely. There's 3 bureaus that provide credit scores: Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. And basically, with conventional loans, you would be looking at credit scores of a 680 or higher to legitimately get approved to be able to get PMI insurance. With FHA loans, you can go all the way down to a 640 to put the minimum down payment of 3.5%. You can go further down to a 620 with 5% down, and then you can go down to a 600 and put 10% down. So there's a lot more leniency with FHA loans as it relates to credit scores as opposed to conventional loans.
Well, you've just brought up an interesting question as far as, can you explain a little bit of what PMI or MIP, which I know FHA uses those letters,
Absolutely.
And what they represent?
Private mortgage insurance, as it relates to conventional loans, is insurance anytime a borrower is putting less than 20% down and seeking financing through a conventional loan. They have to purchase PMI insurance. And PMI, in the event of a default, this is the insurance that would cover some of the losses of the foreclosure. As the down payment goes down, the higher the PMI insurance. 20% down, conventional loan, no PMI insurance. FHA has MIP, mortgage insurance premium. There, you can have a lower credit score to get their PMI. And the one thing about it, though, it is a little bit more expensive right now than conventional loan PMI.
Okay, thank you very much. Last question. Debt ratio. Can you explain a little bit about what that represents?
Absolutely. Debt ratios are very important in the loan process approval. Conventional loans, as an example, someone can be approved up to a 45% debt to income ratio. Now, if that loan requires PMI, they're putting less than 20% down, even though the conventional loan would approve it at a 45% debt ratio, PMI says we want it down to 41. So you could be getting a false approval going conventional, having a 45% debt ratio, but then whenever you go to get PMI, they're saying, no, we need it down to 41. So basically, with a conventional loan, you need to keep your debt ratios around 41. FHA loans, on the other hand, allow you to go up to 55% debt to income ratio. They're the ones, FHA is offering the PMI, so they allow you to get PMI also up to the 55% debt ratio. So whenever we have tight debt ratios, income and debt ratios with certain clients, and they want to buy a certain size house, sometimes we will purposely flip them over to an FHA because they allow a little bit higher debt ratios.
Great, fantastic. I hope this information has been very helpful to you. I want to thank Terry for joining me here today. For all your mortgage needs, please contact Terry. Thank you very much.
Thank you.